Hi guys, another tutorial in Illustrator. This time I'm going to try and teach you how to use the pen tool, which is really useful if you are making an unusual shape or a non-standard shape. So we're going to look at this tree here, which has got a lot of curves and leaves and stuff like that. So very good for the pen tool. It can be tricky to use, and you have to pay careful attention and practice for more complex shapes. Okay, there's a tutorial here you can link to if you want. You can just use this one. Hopefully by now you are able to copy and paste an image into Illustrator. So I'm going to skip that step. I'm going to go straight to it. We've got it here, and we're going to use the pen tool. Incidentally, these are the vector tools. These tools here, from the pen tool down to the eraser tool, these are all vector tools. Okay, so Illustrator works in shapes, vector shapes. They're scalable. You'll notice that this tree is pixelated, and you can see it from here. We want to make a nice vector, scalable logo. Okay, we're going to use the pen tool. It's one way to do it. Now, click on the pen tool. Now, before we do this, before you use the pen tool, I want you to go up to these fill and stroke. So we're going to make sure it should already be on no fill, and we're going to make a stroke of, let's say yellow. Okay, something that's going to stand out for us. You could even do pink. Okay, so something that's going to stand out because we're going to trace around this thing here. Okay, so grab yourself the pen tool, and we're going to go down here. We're going to start on the bottom here, the straight edge. Okay, so when you do use the pen tool, okay, there's a couple of tricks. As soon as you click, it'll start making a line. Now, if you just do another click, it'll simply make a straight line. Okay, and it'll look straight until you press the button. Okay, so you press and let go. The other thing it can do is curves. Okay, so look, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're just getting not a rough drawing, but an approximate copy of this. Okay, so what's going to happen? Wish I went the other way, but so if you click and hold down, it will allow you to drag out a curve. You might have used this in Photoshop before. It's a similar sort of thing. Okay, and it'll give you a nice curve. So depending on how you drag it out, these are actually called Bezier curves if you're interested. Okay, so you let go and it'll give you a nice curve. Okay, so you can sort of go around and do another one, click and hold, and you can drag again, and depending on how far you drag it out, you might get an approximate shape. So see how it's giving me an approximate curve of that. You can actually go in and do a few more curves and get a better version of this. Now, this is a problem. Okay, so when you get to this, I'll see if we can zoom in. You can zoom in and out at any time. To get finer details, Control plus and Control minus, zoom in and out. Okay, so what I want to do here is make a sharp edge. So see how if you just let it go, you just drag it around, it'll try and do this big loop. Okay, which is not what we want. What I'd like you to do is to hover over the last handle you made, hold down Alt and click it. Okay, and what that does is it makes a sharp edge. That's what makes a sharp edge. So we're going to drag it up here a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to put another sharp edge there. So hold down Alt and click that, and we're going to drag that around to the next one. So I'm holding down again. I'm creating a curve this time. So hold and drag to create a curve, and then let go, and it'll do it. I want a sharp edge here. Okay, so hold down Alt, click on that, and you get a sharp edge. Okay, so again, I might put a curve in here, so I'm going to hold down the left click. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, it's the left click. Okay, so hold that down till you get to the curve you want, and let go. I want a sharp edge here, so left click with Alt on there. And we're just going to keep going around until we get a good. Okay, I'm going to trace all the way around the edges I'm going to use a lot of sharp edges, and we're going to trace out this tree. So I'm going to pause it while I do that, because that's going to take me some time. Guys, I just wanted to show you something. If you make a mistake here at any time, you can press Control Z and it'll go back to the last step. Okay, so if you muck something up, don't keep going. Control Z, undo it until you're back to something you're happy with. And then now I'll want a sharp edge there, click on that, and go to the next bit up here. Okay. Okay, guys, I've finished my tree. Okay, my outline, my tree. So if you go back to the point that you started on, it'll close it off, and you'll have a shape that you can deal with. So just to show you what's going on, I'm going to move this out of the way, and that's my shape I've created. Okay, that's a vector shape, doesn't pixelate. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make it into a brown. I'm just going to use that brown there, and using the stroke I'm going to turn off that pink outline, which I only use to trace anyway. So I've got a pretty good representation. It's not perfect. With a lot of these things, the quality of what you get out is dependent on the time that you put into it. So the more time you put into it, the better result. So it's up to you. Okay, now I'm going to show you these leaf things. Okay.
Excuse me, students. Tyler.
Okay, so we're going to make these leaves. Alright, so we're going to start another vector object. We're going to use the drawing tool again. Let's use the drawing tool, the pen tool, sorry. And we're going to go click once, and then we're going to hold down, and we're going to make the corner of that leaf there. Okay, so remember we want a sharp edge. We're going to go back the other way. A sharp edge, so you hold down the last anchor point and click on that. And then we're going to go back to where we started, and we're going to drag out the other edge. Okay, so at the moment that's brown. Alright, so let's just click the selection tool. We should be able to just go, I want green. You can use the eyedropper tool to select that green if you really wanted it somehow. Hang on. So I'll move that over. Eyedropper tool. Okay, so it will copy that green onto there. So we've got a pretty good, nice shape. Okay, now depending how good you want to do this, you could overlay this on top of that and then put them all out where you want them. The easy way to copy these is that there's a quick way to copy these. Okay, so you don't have to do it a zillion times. Okay, so highlight it, use the selection tool to highlight it. Now, holding down Alt, just drag and copy. Okay, so you've got an exact copy of that. You can rotate it a little bit if you want. You can make it smaller. Okay, so you've got a copy of that. Okay, you'll notice when you hold down Alt over this, if you highlight it, hold down Alt, it'll do this little double cursor thing, so you can just keep doing that. Okay, so it's pretty good. And so just make it to what you want. So I'm not going to do all that, you get the idea. Yeah, so have a go at that yourself. Just one other thing actually, with this pen tool, what I will mention is that if you're not happy with any of these points, okay, so you see the points there, if you use the direct selection tool, if you're not happy with any of these points, you can click on them and you can change them. Alright, so if you're not happy with that curve, you can change it a little bit if you want to. Like, there's all sorts of things you can do, alright, just to make it look a bit better, or worse in this case. Okay, so that's how you make custom shapes using the pen tool.